Hello everyone, it's really amazing to see so many of you here. As you know, we're just one of 30 actions taking place internationally, actions which have come together purely in the last 2 weeks. Really, there are actions taking place all over Europe, in Canada, Australia and the United States. I'm thrilled that we have such a strong turnout in London, I really am. As the banner in front of me says, today is the 298th day that Bradley is spending in solitary confinement in Monaco, in a marine military prison. He spends 23 hours out of 24 in his cell. He takes meals in his cell. He has 1 hour which he can spend either for exercise or to write letters, but he only has 1 hour. If he decides to exercise, he's taken to an empty room. The rest of the room is locked down while he's transported. He's taken there in shackles. He's taken to an empty room with no windows, and he can walk around in figure eights. That's the one opportunity he has to exercise. If he doesn't spend that full hour exercising, he's taken back to his cell immediately. Every 5 minutes, one of Bradley's Marine guards asks him if he's okay. He has to say yes. Every 5 minutes. He can't just nod his head. He can't just look at the guy and the guy doesn't understand. He has to say yes, sir. I am okay. Every 5 minutes. That, to me, over a period of many months, is torture.
No touch torture is torture.
No touch torture is torture. You're entirely right. What is happening, we're talking about a young man who turned 23 in December, a US soldier, so a UK citizen, being imprisoned in Guantanamo conditions in the continental United States. And it's not just me who is saying this. Over the past week, especially, we've seen voices in the media, not just the usual friendly voices like the LA Times and the Guardian, but other voices, the New York Times, the Washington Post, neither of them particularly critical of the US administration, saying, what the hell is going on here? This should not be allowed to happen. This is unjust, and the US administration needs to give some serious answers about this. Amnesty have released a strongly worded statement this week. So has Human Rights Watch, and so is the American Civil Liberties Union. And in this country, Anne Fluid, on Thursday morning, raised that business questions, and questions to Sir George Young, the Leader of the House, saying what is happening to Bradley is similar to what is being meted out to prisoners at Guantanamo. And Sir George Young did not agree. He indicated that her concerns were widely shared. That, I feel, is pretty significant. To reiterate, Bradley Manning has not been found guilty of anything. His trial date has not been set. It seems likely that the US is not in any particular hurry to set a trial date for Bradley. They'll continue psychologically torturing him until they break him before they do the decency, grant him the decency of a trial. I think it's important to recognise that even under the strict military rules that governing the conditions of Bradley's detention, what is happening to him at the moment is not allowed. Punishment before trial under the Uniform Code of Military Justice is not allowed. Not being brought to trial speedily under the Uniform Code of Military Justice is not allowed. And putting someone under suicide watch to discipline them rather than to protect them is emphatically not allowed. And the US military knows it's not allowed. When we brought it to their attention, this is one of the great things we've managed to do online, that the reason why Bradley had been put under suicide watch was an illegitimate reason. That resulted in the then commander of the Marine Brigade Consequence being fired. We got James Aberard fired. What he did was not allowed. The campaign is already having an impact. Just last week, PJ Crowley, Hillary Clinton's press spokesman, said that what his colleagues in the Department of Defense were doing to Bradley was, and I quote, ridiculous and counterproductive and stupid. This resulted in the President of the United States being questioned directly on what was happening to Bradley, shortly after which PJ Crowley was forced to resign, as they say. So the disunity in the US administration on this point is becoming increasingly evident. And make no mistake, it's our campaign which is bringing this point to the fore and making the US look very awkward indeed. Here in the UK, we have a special responsibility to speak out for Bradley. Just because Bradley is not just a US citizen, he's a British citizen as well, by virtue of the fact that his mother is Welsh and she was born in Wales, and Bradley was born after 1983. This means that automatically, from birth, Bradley became a British citizen, and he remains one today. And this is not just a legal technicality. Between the ages of 13 and 17, Bradley lived in Haverfordwest in Wales. He attended school there. He took his GCSEs in Wales. He left halfway through his A-levels to go back to the States. But he has real and concrete ties to this country. His mother still lives in the area. His whole maternal family, in fact, still live in the area. And there are people who still live in the area who knew Bradley well. So Bradley's ties to this country are real. And as a result of this, I'm really delighted to say that this is now a parliamentary issue as well, as of this week, thanks to Anne Clwyd. I would like to strongly encourage you all to write to your Member of Parliament and encourage them to sign Anne Clwyd's early day motion 1642, which she tabled on Friday. This early day motion, and I'll quote it to you. So ask your MP to sign that this House expresses great concern at the treatment of Private First Class Bradley Manning, currently detained at the US Quantico Marine Base. Notes the increasing level of interest and concern in the UK, and particularly in Wales. Appeals to the US administration to ensure that his detention conditions are humane, and calls on the UK government to raise the case with the US administration. So to note interest and concern, appeal to the US government to ensure that his conditions are humane, and to ask the UK government to raise the case. This is not a big ask for any of your MPs, who presumably don't think torture is okay. I would encourage you to get your MP to sign an early day motion 1624, and if they can't, 1624. I would encourage you to encourage your MPs to sign this, and if they can't do, question whether they should actually be your MP at all, if they can't. I'd like to reiterate that I know it seems like we have an enormous hill to climb here, but your action really does make an enormous difference. This is one of those issues, those rare issues, where writing to your MP is actually the most proactive thing you can do, because I strongly believe it is diplomatic pressure from this country on the US that is one of our best hopes of improving the material conditions that Bradley is experiencing at the moment. And we've made a big difference already. Just over the course of the last couple of months, a relatively small number of campaigners have already achieved quite a great deal. I would remind you that at the beginning of this year, the fact that Bradley was a UK citizen was not reported anywhere in the UK press. It was due to a concerted campaign online that we got The Guardian to break the story on their front page on the 2nd of February. And we've now come so far that even the BBC yesterday published a report, BBC Wales, quoting Bradley Manning's deputy head as saying, where is it? It really is fairly shameful that the British government isn't doing anything about one of its own citizens. That in itself, that we've come that far, is an achievement, because this was not even on the public record at the beginning of this year, and now it's being debated in Parliament. This is now a mainstream political issue in this country. It's not a complex issue, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about a British citizen being tortured in a country that claims to be civilised. It's not a complex issue. Shouldn't be difficult to sort out, surely. The UK media is now looking at us. The UK government is now looking at us. If we speak, we will be heard. So I encourage you to do all you can to raise awareness of what is happening to Bradley and the UK government's responsibility to help him. Thank you very much.
Woo!